Is Barrowgoyf an Eldrazi? Today, we're going to find out. Hello and welcome back, and today I am taking a new spin on Eldrazi through the new post-ban legacy meta. We are playing Black Eldrazi today. So why am I playing Black? Well, two cards in specific. One is, as far as I'm concerned, Barrowgoyf is an honorary Eldrazi. You see those tentacles on its back. It's definitely a spaghetti monster. But I'm also testing out a new card from Avatar The Last Airbender called Obsessive Pursuit. So this is a 2 mana enchantment that at the beginning of every one of your upkeeps, you lose a life and get a clue. So it's built-in card advantage if you don't want to play something like the One Ring, and it can come down a little bit faster than that. But the really cool part about this card is that at the beginning of your declare attackers, or after you've declared attackers, you can put X +1/+1 counters on a target attacking creature where X is the number of permanents you sacrifice this turn, and if X is 3 or greater, that creature gains lifelink as well. So it's a built-in way to negate the life loss you get from the clues. But in a deck like Eldrazi, where the core of the deck is making a ton of Eldrazi spawn with Eldrazi's Fleshraker and Kozilek's Command, and then sacrificing them to cast even more spells, you are going to be sacrificing a ton of bodies to be able to use Obsessive Pursuit to pump a creature absolutely gigantic. And you can do some really cool ways to stack your triggers if you have an Eldrazi Linebreaker as well, because the Eldrazi Linebreaker's trigger happens at the beginning of combat, whereas Obsessive Pursuit doesn't happen until after you've declared attackers. So you could have an Eldrazi Linebreaker, an Obsessive Pursuit, and a whole bunch of Eldrazi spawn tokens on the battlefield. Get a huge pump because these spawns are still going to be on the battlefield when the Eldrazi Linebreaker trigger resolves, and then just sacrifice them all to float mana before Obsessive Pursuit resolves, and then however many you sacked is an additional pump on top of the Linebreaker's pump. So you can get some absolutely huge damage swings out of nowhere with this deck. Outside of the Black Splash for the fun here, it's a pretty standard Eldrazi Stompy deck. You've got your normal creatures here. You've got your Fleshrakers to be able to go wide, create mana, burn your opponent out, combo with Kozilek's Command, Thought-Knot Seer for some hand disruption, Linebreaker to have huge bursts of damage and trample coming through, and a bunch of Wastegate Battle Mages. I am anticipating a ton of Cutter decks in the new meta. So being able to exile a Cutter, bounce a Murktide Regent, bounce a Barrowgoyf, something like that, I think is going to be huge. You've also got some lock pieces in the form of Chalice of the Void, and your pretty typical Eldrazi mana base, a lot of dual lands, Cavern Souls to make your creatures uncounterable, bunch of wastelands to be able to disrupt your opponent's mana base, some fast mana in the form of Lotus Petal. And then the real star here is Starting Town, which is a new land from the Final Fantasy set that is seeing a little bit of play in Legacy. It is a rainbow land. The only real downside is that if it comes in after the third turn of the game, it does come in tapped, but it can produce any color of mana for 1 life. So Starting Town is really what's allowing us to do this Black Splash for Obsessive Pursuit. Cavern of Souls also helps you cast Barrowgoyf because it is a creature, so you could throw Cavern of Souls on Lurgoyf to be able to get your black mana for your Barrowgoyf, but really your black mana is going to be coming from your Lotus Petals and your Starting Towns to be able to cast Obsessive Pursuit. We do have 2 Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth to be able to help increase our black mana production to make these a little bit easier to cast, but those are going to be the main ways to do it. Another backup way to do it is Talisman of Indulgence. It is the Rakdos Talisman. So we can get red or black mana for Linebreaker or Barrowgoyf or Obsessive Pursuit off of that. But the really nice part about this is that it taps for colorless mana as well. So it gives you a way to still be able to cast your colorless spells under something like a Blood Moon, a Harbinger of the Tides, something like that. So it's a nice little backdoor way to get around the typical land hate that you're going to see being brought in against Eldrazi decks. In the sideboard, it's pretty much just a lot of things to be able to combat what you expect in the current meta. Dismember to be able to get rid of problematic creatures, Fairy Macabre for graveyard decks, Null Rod for artifact decks, Disruptor Flute to be able to tax key spells out of Storm players and combo players, or to be able to shut down Planeswalkers that are shutting you down. Some Eldrazi Obligators as a fun little way to counteract large creature decks like Sneak and Show or Lands decks, where you can steal their big creature and attack them with it. So even if they manage to find a way to get it into play, you can steal it and kill them with it instead. So we'll see if we get to pull that off at all. A fourth Wastegate Battle Mage, specifically to be able to bring in, again, against like cutter decks, any kind of artifact or enchantment deck, or another way to be able to bounce something like a Merit Lage token or a creature that was show and telled in from the Sneak and Show decks. And then Warping Whale is a nice little old tech card that you used to see in Eldrazi pretty frequently. It's just a nice little modal instant spell. The key parts on this are the exiling a target creature with power toughness for 1 or less. That's an easy way to answer a Tamiyo, an Unflipped Delver, a non-delirious DRC, stuff like that. So some real easy removal there. It also has counter target sorcery spell, so this is a good way to be able to counter something like an Echo of Eons out of a Storm deck, is able to counter a Dread Return out of a Thassa's Oracle style deck, something like that. And then it can be used as ramp in a pinch if you need to make another spawn to be able to sack for mana, or to be able to get another body for Line Breaker, another thing to sack for Obsessive Pursuit. So this is Black Eldrazi for Legacy. Let's see if this crazy little splash is worth it in the new post-ban meta. Take it through a league, see how it does, see if Barrowgoyf is an honorary Eldrazi or not. That all being said, if you like my content, please do me a favor, drop a like, a comment, and a hype on the video. Let me know what you like. And if you haven't yet, please sub to the channel to know when my content is going live. All of those are great free ways to support the channel. That all said, let's play some Magic. I'll catch you all in the wrap-up. Alright, round 1 with Black Eldrazi. Lost the die roll. Alright, what do we got here? We got Chalice on 1, Fleshraker on 2, followed up with making a dude into a Wastegate Battle Mage. I think we will go ahead and keep this and hope that a Chalice on 1 is good against our opponent. Load spell for the opponent, so Chalice on 0 might be better, but we will see what they do here. Oh, it's Oops All Spells. Do they just have the turn 1? Yes, they do. We will see what's in their graveyard, and then we will scoop it up and go to game 3. Anything out of the ordinary. They have packs. That's good to know about. Do they have Memories Journey? No. So they're not a Memories Journey build, but they do have Pact of Negation, so we gotta watch out for that. Unfortunately, this happens. I've said it a million times before. I will say it a million times again. I don't think Oops All Spells is a problem. It's just a miserable deck. That being said, we will bring in Fairy Macaws for the graveyard. We'll bring in Disruptive Flutes to be able to shut down a, whatchamacallit, Goblin Charbelcher of stuff we don't need. Unfortunately, very first round, we're already taking out Obsessive Pursuit. It's just going to be way too slow. And I think we're going to take out one of the Barrowgoyfs. Just like the black cards are slower and way too slow for an all-in combo deck like this, so hopefully they're not on a creature juke and they're on the Goblin Charbelcher juke, but we will give this a shot. Alright, on the positive side, they have no idea what we are doing, so they are boarding completely in the blind. This is way too slow. We gotta ship this. Okay, this is a little awkward, but I think we're gonna go ahead and keep this and just bin the Line Breaker for now. We need to hit some mana, but let's bin the Line Breaker for right now. We have multiple layers of protection here, so we're going to go ahead and play Wasteland, Chalice on 0, hold up Fairy Macabre. If we hit a land, we can Chalice on 1, and that should shut down almost all of their fast mana. It's a little risky keeping a 1-lander, but we're going to give it a shot. Alright, opponent went to 5. We will start out on a Wasteland, and then drop a Chalice on 0, and pass the turn. We just really want to hit lands at this point. And opponent kept a no-lander. I mean, that theoretically gives us some time. Land? I also would not hate if they just popped off like a Force Vigor here to blow up this Chalice and we just play another one. Kozilek's Command. Okay, well, we're passing the turn, unfortunately. And opponent scooped it up to a Chalice on 0? Okay, well, now we gotta do this on the draw, and that is going to be incredibly difficult. There's something to be said about possibly bringing in Warping Whales to be able to counter a Dread Return or something. But I'm not really sure if that's worth it. We could also bring in Null Rods, and if we do that, we're probably trimming some of our Mana Rocks. Yeah, I really don't know. I think we might bring in the Warping Whales, trim the last Barrowgoyf, and maybe trim one Talisman in the process. We could also turn some number of chalices. They're way worse on the draw than they are on the play to bring in null rods. But I think we're going to try this and just really hope they don't have a protected turn 1. They also just know that we are some sort of stompy deck. They don't know we are Eldrazi. All they saw was a Wasteland and a Chalice on 0. But we're going to keep this. We can work our way up to Flushrakers and Thought-Knot Seers. We have a Fairy Macabre to try to fend off if they go for a turn 1. Shocking into a Thoughtseize. Okay. So unfortunately that means Fairy Macabre's going to go away, but hopefully we can just draw another one. Oh, they took the Thought-Knot Seer. Interesting. So that means they're probably on the Goblin Charbelcher juke, which unfortunately we are probably like 1 mana too short of being able to fuck with that, unless they still need more mana to actually get it. But if they just like pop off Ritual, another Lion's Eye Diamond, okay. Alright, we still have a shot here. Another land would be great. That actually produces mana. Otherwise, we're just playing Flushraker and passing the turn. Okay, Urborg. So, to play around Pact of Negation, we're just going to do this now. Okay, got in. And we are going to name Goblin Charbelcher so that they can't activate it. And pass the turn. And opponent scoops it up! We took down Oops! Alright. Already off to a good start, taking down a miserable deck in what feels like a fucking horrendous matchup. Alright, on to the next one. Alright, won the die roll. Let's go. This is a little slow, but it's pretty resilient. Do I want to play it slow? I think we can try to find a faster hand here. Into a hand with no actual mana. We gotta ship this one, unfortunately. Okay, I like this. We'll go ahead and keep this. Probably been the Line Breaker and the Obsessive Purist for now, or Obsessive Pursuit. It feels weird keeping a hand that's just mana with no threats, but we are going to go ahead and just do it anyways. And we will probably start out with the Wasteland, just because if they have a Wasteland back, it's the one I care least about getting Wastelanded here. It allows us to Chalice on 1 next turn, or it allows us to Kozilek's Command for 1 next turn. Island from the opponent into a Ponder, so Chalice is probably going to be pretty good. We want to find our Cavern of Souls as well. Then again, this could also just be like Sneak and Show or Omnitel or something like that, and none of this matters, but we'll find out. I could have started out with Eldrazi Temple, so if I high roll into a Thought-Knot Seer, I could play it on 2, but I was very worried about my land getting Wastelanded. I've been running into Wasteland a lot in the practice rooms lately, so I didn't want to lose one of my good lands to a Wasteland. Our opponent did not shuffle. We hit another Wasteland. I mean, we'll play the Eldrazi Temple now. They can see what's going on here, and we will go ahead and drop a Chalice for 1. See if they got a counter for this. If it's a Daze, it sucks. If it's a Force of Will, at least we hint to Turok them and get a little more information, hopefully. Otherwise, we should be able to shut down their cantrips. This also allows us to Kozilek's Command for 3 next turn. Okay, we got a Daze out of them. So it at least set them back a land that we couldn't Wasteland anyways. Playing a Flooded Strand. And they're not cracking it. So there's a possibility this is like blue-white control of some sort that's going to be heavy basic. We hit a Wastegate Battle Mage. We will just play the Eye of Ugin and pass. We will plan on Kozilek commanding. We might just do it for 2 to play around Daze now that we saw that they have that. Alright, opponent is fetching. Into a Thundering Falls. We might just go ahead and Wasteland that and then Kozilek's Command after they get their... Alright, they put 1 card on top. We are going to go ahead and hit that with the Wasteland. And then we will cast a Kozilek's Command for 2. And they have to Force of Will this if they want to counter it. And if we Force of Will it, we him to Turok them. And I think it's well worth the expenditure here. Force of Negation pitching Murktide Region. Okay, so it looks like there's some sort of Delver variant. Okay. Well, we got rid of a threat from their hand. And they might start playing other non-basics again, because they don't know about the second Wasteland. Nope, play the island. Into a Tamiyo. Okay. We hit a Barrowgoyf that we cannot cast, so we will pass the turn. Hopefully they don't just, like, flip this instantly with a Brainstorm. I was really hoping this was going to get banned in the last BNR, but it wasn't even mentioned, which is kind of bizarre. But we'll see. Hopefully it gets hit in the next one. Alright, getting their clue before they decide to do anything. Totally understandable. Do they have the follow-up Brainstorm second main? Volcanic Island, okay. No. Alright. We hit a Lotus Petal. That does let us play Barrowgoyf. Unfortunately, we're kind of just at the jam it point of the game. It's also interesting this is sitting on the stack for so long. I'm wondering if they have, like, a main deck consigned to memory, and they're debating if they want to counter this. I've been running into a ton of that lately as well, too. Which is kind of crazy to think about, that the meta is so geared toward colorless decks that people are main decking consigned to memory right now. But that's all because of Mystic Forge, which is another deck people were saying should have gotten something banned out of it and wasn't even mentioned at all in the BNR. Alright, that resolved, and unfortunately we are at the jam it point of the game here. So if it was a consigned memory, at least that can't hit this. If it's a Force of Will, we hit him to Turok them again. Okay, that's stuck. I'm not seeing a Brazen Borrower yet, but they have it. Okay, well, that's annoying, but is what it is. Getting in with the Tamiyo. Playing another land out. Do they have the cantrips to flip this? Cracking their Flooded Strand. Into another Volcanic Island. Cracking a clue into a Dragon Rage Channeler. Okay, they've got 2 cards in hand. Show me some colored mana deck. That is not colored mana. I'm not so sure that keeping them off of mana is really necessary here, but I kind of want to just so they can't crack 2 clues in one turn and flip this Tamiyo. So I think I am going to take the chance to do this now. And then just pass the turn. I could run out this Wastegate Battle Mage, but I want to wait until I can get some value out of it. Especially if they, like, play Murktide Region, I can bounce it back to their hand. I just had another land anyways. But this does stop them from being able to crack 2 clues in one turn. Alright, and it is a Quarry Steelcutter build. Luckily, Barrowgoyf is very good against Quarry Steelcutter if we can find some black mana. They kept whatever they saw. Do they have a follow-up? A Lightning Bolt. Okay, so we're going to take some damage. If we can find some black mana, Barrowgoyf should stabilize pretty well. But this is just Izzet Cutter, which I wholly expect this to be what the whole meta is about going forward, is Izzet Cutter decks. Alright. Black mana? Thought-Knot Seer. Okay. Unfortunately, they have no cards in hand. I'm debating if I want to drop out this Wastegate Battle Mage. I think I'm going to wait. This is at least a pretty good blocker. And they are empty-handed and top decking. But they did like whatever they saw on top. And they can flash in this Brazen Borrower. I don't really have flyers to be able to block any of this kind of shit. So I really need to find black mana, stick this Barrowgoyf. I think this is a Murktide Region based off of how long they were paying costs for, but I could be wrong. Alright, cast a Brainstorm. Tamiyo is going to flip now. We will just heal through the turn. They kept whatever they surveilled with the Dragon Rage Channeler. Upticking Tamiyo. Alright, moving to combat. Getting in with the Monk. That makes me think they probably have another spell to be able to pump this, so I'm just going to take the 3 here. Our life total is a resource. Cavern of Souls. I am going to put this on Lurgoyf. And we are going to slam the shit out of this Barrowgoyf here. And then we will move to combat. It does suck we couldn't put that on Battle Mage, but we need to start gaining life. And we are going to attack the Tamiyo, see if they're willing to give up this Dragon Rage Channeler. This unfortunately doesn't kill Tamiyo, but it can hit it for 3, so it can't get a card back from the graveyard. Or it gets rid of their Surveil Engine. Alright, they're just letting it hit. And cracking a clue, okay. So just starting to burn through their clues, trying to get some cards back. They typically only play 1 Brazen Borrower, and this is well out of Lightning Bolt range. Land from the opponent. I'd like another Cavern so that I can cast Wastegate Battle Mage and exile this Quarry Steelcutter. That was an option we could have done, but I feel like we desperately need the life gain from Barrowgoyf. Alright, moving to combat. Alright, they don't have a Lightning Bolt, or they would have attacked with the Monk. Okay, we hit another Cavern of Souls. I like that. This one we can put on Eldrazi. And then we will cast this with Kicker. And we will exile your Quarry Steelcutter. And then we will move to combat and attempt to kill Tamiyo. We will send This one at face, this one at Tamiyo. Make them decide what they want to do here. See if they want to give up their whole board to keep Tamiyo alive. Or if they're willing to let the Tamiyo go now. I mean, they can get something back here, but what do they get back? A Ponder? A Lightning Bolt, maybe? Cracking a Clue. Okay, that's fine. Trying to make their game plan from here. That's their last spare clue. Lightning Bolt targeting the Barrowgoyf. Okay. So they're going to try to trade the Monk with the Barrowgoyf by the look of it. Throw a Wasteland into the graveyard. I like that. So yeah, they're going to trade the Monk with the Barrowgoyf. Are they going to keep Tamiyo around is the question. Nope. Just trading the Monk with the Barrowgoyf. Tamiyo's going to die. That's fine. We got some life back, which is good. Dragon Rage Channeler is on. Brainstorming. Okay. Like, we're still in a precarious spot, but we still do have another Barrowgoyf we can get. Or we can just keep slamming big haymakers. Been to Force of Will. Found a Ponder. We are winning this race, though, if they don't find... Bend another Wasteland. We are winning this race, though, if they don't find any other backup threat here. They still do have this Brazen Borrower in exile. Did not shuffle. Into a Preordain. Okay, so they're just trying to find something here. Been another Wasteland. So they've given up on trying to cut us off of mana, which is kind of understandable. One top, one bottom. Another Preordain. Alright, spending their whole turn just digging. Okay, they liked something they saw there. I wouldn't mind another Thought-Knot Seer off of the top. Wastegate Battle Mage. Okay. That is an answer for a Murktide region, if that's what they've been searching for here. Get in for 6. Pass the turn. I'm hoping they were just digging for a Murktide region and we can bounce it. Unfortunately, they do have enough cards in their graveyard to be able to play it again. Ooh, Unholy Heat. Okay. That is problematic. Like whatever they saw, so they're drawing whatever it is that they found. Into a Brainstorm. Still just shaping. They're over halfway through their deck at this point. Been to Mishra's Bauble. Are they looking for another Corey Steelcutter? Like, I'm assuming they got 4 of them. We also did Wasteland a couple of lands. They might be out of actual mana sources at this point. And they've been to few Force of Wills as well now. Alright, get in with their Channeler. Glaring Fleshraker. Okay. Well, we will pay some mana to play a Glaring Fleshraker. Okay, that resolved. We could Wastegate Battle Mage here just to reset this Dragon Rage Channeler and buy us a turn. Which might not be a bad idea. We're going to cast this with Kicker. Make blue mana. Pay here. Bounce the Dragon Rage Channeler. Always yield to this. Always yield to this. Just get our chip damage in where we can to try to change the clock. And then get in with our Battle Mage. We're basically just trying to race at this point. Did they find a... Okay, they did finally find another Steel Cutter. Replay Dragon Rage Channeler to trigger the Cutter. That's fine. We can chump block with the spawn... Well, we actually can't chump block with the spawn token because we just take the 2. I think we're just going to take the 2 here. Go to 6. Alright, we need a big draw here. Another Wastegate Battle Mage. That should... So we can bounce the Dragon Rage Channeler, swing in, and that should be lethal? Whoa, undo that. I clicked the wrong one. I want this one. And then we will bounce the Dragon Rage Channeler. If they don't have a removal spell, this should be lethal. What are they lightning bolting? They're lightning bolting the... whatchamacallit here. And they're gonna daze it to make another blocker? Okay. This is aimed at the Wastegate Battle Mage, which can't be countered anyways. And they do have something right here. They've got 4 cards left in hand. I mean, we're going to get in. See if they want to block this. Nope, they're going to go to 2. Okay. It really kind of just comes down to this now. I've got a couple of free chump blockers for everything other than whatever the Corey Steelcutter is on. Replays the Dragon Rage Channeler. Okay, they're going to Brainstorm. I mean, I'll yield through the turn. This is also notable that this is still game 1 and our opponent only has 9 minutes left on their clock. And they only have 1 Trampler here. They've used 3 Lightning Bolts, so there's only 1 Lightning Bolt left in the deck. And opponent is swinging out. Okay, well, we will block, and we will block. Alright, killing one of the battle mages that's being held back. Alright, it comes down to what is the top card of my deck? Eldrazi Temple. Yeah, we are unfortunately dead, but I mean, we'll get in, make a block. That was super close. Like I said, it's notable that this was game 1. So I will let them do their thing. I hate playing to the clock, but at this point it's like, why not? There's no way we're getting 3 games in. Alright, let's see what we can do in the sideboard. We are going to bring in Warping Whales. And we could bring in Dismembers, but our life total is super relevant here. We could also bring in, like, Disruptor Flutes. Obligator would be funny up against the Murktide region, so I think we're going to bring those in. Unfortunately, yet again, I really don't think this is an Obsessive Pursuit game. I know we're trying to test this out, but it's just the matchups we're getting are not meant for it. This is meant for more, like, control-y, grindy games. But let's try that, and we'll adjust if we go to a game 3. Alright. Let's see if we can get just like a turn 1 uncontested Chalice on 1. And I mean, we have that, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. And we will go to our main phase, play our Wasteland, play a Lotus Petal. They appear to be F6'd. And they are. Okay, Chalice is in. They're F6'd because they are concerned about clock. We will play a Starting Town and pass a turn. And we can either Thought-Knot Seer or Barrowgoyf next turn. I think we'll start out with the Thought-Knot Seer. Yes, our opponent is very concerned about clock here. And they're already moving to clean up. Chuck to Ponder, that's fine. Eye of Ugin. Well, we will play an Eldrazi Temple, and we will run out a Thought-Knot Seer to see what they're working with over there. See if they finally got a counter here. I'm actually more okay with the Thought-Knot Seer getting countered than the Barrowgoyf, which is why I'm doing this and opening it up to a Daze. But instead it turns to a Hint to Turok. So I'm actually pretty okay with that. Which means that they don't have Daze. Thundering Falls tapped. Okay. Bend a Lightning Bolt. We can just yield through the turn. Like, they know we're Eldrazi now. We're tapped out. We don't have any 0 mana instant speed interaction. Mishra's Bauble. Okay. Cracking Mishra's Bauble to see what we're drawing. That's totally fine. What are we drawing, opponent? A Glaring Fleshraker. Okay. Well, I like that quite a bit. So we can play Glaring Fleshraker. And they're struggling for mana, but we need this mana for Barrowgoyf, so I'm going to hold on to it for now. We can Kozilek's Command for 2 to play around Daze. Okay, opponent found another land, so it's a good thing we didn't Wasteland. Opponent is fetching. Plays a Volcanic Island. Our Barrowgoyf is already a 5/6. Oh, hello, Tattle. The youngest baby is coming to say hello. Alright, so it is a Murktide region. How big is it? It is a 6/6. Okay. I think we're fine with that. Barrowgoyf can mitigate a ton of that damage. Admittedly, they did shrink it. But we are going to go ahead and scry draw and make duders. And we are going to play around Daze. And we're just going to try to burn our opponent out here. And they appear to be F6 through the rest of the turn. We got a Cavern and another Chalice. We can put the Chalice to the bottom. I think we'll take the Cavern. And we got... Oh, this is going to be funny as hell. Oh my god. We got the Obligator and they have the Murktide region. Oh my god. This is going to be absolutely hilarious. And I have the mana to be able to pay to steal this. We got the dream, guys. We did it. And we will go ahead and float the mana. Yes, I will pay the mana. I will take your Murktide Regent. We did it. We did the dream, everyone. We'll attack with the spawns too, just for the hell of it. Opponent is at 1. Oh my god. We actually got to steal a Murktide region with Obligator. Chalk that up on the victory board. I don't care if they somehow get out of this. And opponent scooped it up to that. Alright. We're just ending the league right here. We did what we came to do. We stole a Murktide region with Obligator. Totally forgot that was game 2. Not gonna lie. Alright, run it back. Alright, what do we got here? We have another turn 1 Chalice of the Void. Is that as good as it could be? I think it is. We're going to go ahead and keep this. And we can just yield through the turn. We have no turn 0 interaction. Alright, they did get a Dragon Rage Channeler down before I could get my Chalice online. We are going to play Starting Town, play Lotus Petal. They're not F6 this time, but we are still going to go for it anyway since we have colored mana. And see if they're just pretending. No. Okay. So Chalice is online. We can work our way up to a Kozilek's Command to get rid of this Dragon Rage Channeler. That's fine. And they already found a Quarry Steelcutter. That's a little annoying, but not the end of the world. Kept whatever it was on top. And they have the Bobble to follow it up. So opponent is going to just try to aggro us out of this as quickly as possible. I would not hate a Battle Mage. We'll take 3, that's fine. Alright, bobbling during combat. Okay, whatever. Not a big deal. We hit a Fleshraker. Well, that is our path to victory, so I guess that's what we're going to do here. And it resolved. Hopefully they don't have a Lightning Bolt. And we can start making chump blockers. A Meltdown to get rid of the Chalice. Okay. I mean, that's mostly fine, because we can K-Command for 2, get rid of the Dragon Rage Channeler. And they don't have a second creature, or a second spell to cast here. We hit another Starting Town. This is turn 3, so this is still untapped. We will cast this. We will make dudes exile a creature. Make dudes exile a creature. Always yield to this. Get our dudes, drain our opponent a bunch. Move to combat. Attack. And then we actually could K-Command again, because they clearly don't have anything going on here. So we will do it this way. These all replace themselves, and then some. And this will let us find something to do. I could play a new Chalice. We'll put that to the bottom, that to the bottom, Chalice to the top, and then we will play another Chalice on one because clearly they cared about it. And opponent's already down to 9. And our line breaker is going to do some serious work next turn. Land for the opponent. Cracking their Flooded Strand. Okay. Playing a Dragon Rage Channeler into the Chalice. It looks like they're trying to just trigger their Quarry Steelcutter here. Yes, they're just trying to trigger the Quarry Steelcutter. 2 cards left in hand. I'm pretty sure unless they have... Okay, yeah. They're just getting in with the 1 monk. Holding back a blocker. Oh no, they're getting in with both. Okay. Unless their 2 cards are Force of Will and a blue card or a Consign to Memory, I think we just win here. If we hit a Chalice, we 100% win. We did not hit a Chalice, but I mean, we came here to jam. We're gonna jam. See if they got a counter for this line breaker, because this line breaker is pretty lethal on its own. All right, and they scoop it up. We actually did it. Totally forgot that last game was game 2 and just was claiming victory at that point, but actually took down Izzet Cutter. Okay, on to the next one. All right, won the die roll. We got a turn 2 line breaker. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. Turn 2 line breaker followed up by a decent-sized Kozilek's Command. I like that. We're going to lead off in the Ancient Tomb because that's what I care least about getting Wastelanded here. Again, I'm just playing like almost irrationally afraid of Wastelands. We also can emergency cycle a Kozilek's Command if we absolutely need to. Would have liked a Chalice there, but is what it is. Misty Rainforest from the opponent, okay. Into another Ancient Tomb. Well, we will play Cavern on Eldrazi, and we will slam this line breaker uncounterably. Is it getting lightning bolted? Alright, looks like we're probably up against Izzet Cutter again. I'm sure this is a lightning bolt. Yep. Fancy textless lightning bolt. Okay. Well, we need some follow-up threats here. Luckily, this can help dig. I am going to play it around a daze. Hopefully they don't follow this up with Land, Cutter, Mishra's Bauble. Alright, Land, Cutter. You got the Mishra's Bauble to go with it? They do. They always do. So we're up against Cutter again. This opponent is playing significantly faster than the last one was. See if we can hit a Wastegate Battle Mage. Luckily, we have main deck answers to this. We did not, so we will just play this, pass the turn. We will go ahead and K-Command for 2. We don't really need to make dudes. We have so much mana. We can probably go ahead and exile a monk and scry draw. Alright. Well, we're gonna do the thing. Scry draw, exile a creature. We're playing around days, has to be forced. Opponent is brainstorming, looking for an answer. We could try to wasteland them off of our land on our next turn. Try to just restrict what they can do, but definitely do not need 2 lands. And we had a Lotus Petal. At least we saved ourselves some damage. Ponder to make another dude. And we hit an Eldrazi Linebreaker. So we're going to take some damage regardless of how we do this, I think. We can just take the damage off of this to be able to wasteland them off of a land and hopefully keep them off of a whatchamacallit. Or we can try to save our life total. I think we're going to go ahead, try to restrict their mana. I don't know how well this is going to work, but we're going to try. I don't like going to 10, but it is what it is. And then we will hit them to 15. And then I love another Kozilek's command. See if they got some follow-up lands. They're not slamming a land, so I might have mana screwed them a little bit here. Nope, there's another land. Unholy Heat with full Delirium. Okay. Into a Lightning Bolt. Alright, yep. This is 7. We go to 2. I think our opponent has this one. We can blow up this, but they cast any spell, we're just dead. I'm not going to show it to them. We're going to go ahead and go to the next one. Notably, this opponent played much, much faster than our last one did. That said, we're going to do the same thing. Obligators in, Warping Whales in. I'm actually going to bring in the other Wastecape Battle Mage. We're going to get rid of the Obsessive Pursuits. I think we're going to trim 1 Talisman here. And let's try that. Alright, let's see if we can get an uncontested Chalice on one. I mean, we got a Chalice on one. We have multiple caverns, so once we start drawing creatures, like, I always feel like it's a trap to keep a lock piece and no follow-up. But they were F6, let this Chalice get in, and if they got a Wasteland for this Wasteland, it's the least important card in my hand. So, alright. So they're just going to play out a Wasteland. We have a Talisman. I think we're going to go ahead and just play out the Talisman, get our mana under us. They want to Wasteland and Urborg. I really don't care. I've got 2 Cavern of Souls. I can put 1 on Barrowgoyf, 1 on Eldrazi, but we do need some threats here. Alright, well, so far there is no whatchamacallit here. Well, we're going to blow up your Volcanic Island. We will move to the next main phase. If they want to bounce the Chalice, I'm just going to replay it. Alright, did not. And because we have so much mana, I think I am just going to play out the Eldrazi Temple. Like, if they want to get rid of their last land to be able to kill the Eldrazi Temple, I'm actually kind of okay with that. Like I said, we need to find some threats, though. That's a Kozilek's command. Well, let's play a Cavern. On Eldrazi, we will play out the Lotus Petal. And then we will pass the turn. They haven't had any counter spells yet. End step, we're going to go ahead and Kozilek's command. Another Wasteland. Okay. They very well may have taken all of their counter spells out because of Cavern of Souls. But I feel like that would be really weird to do. They're very pinched on colored mana, though. Alright, they're taking out the Cavern of Souls. Well, we'll float some mana. We have another one. And then I think we're going to go ahead and play a Kozilek's command around days. Make dudes scry draw. We're playing around days. Are they going to double daze us? Oh, no. They're replicating a consign to memory. Okay. Okay. They are tapped out, though, so if we can hit something good here. Thought-Knot Seers. Well, we're going to do that while we can. See what they got going on over there. See what their plan is. A whole bunch of 1-drops and a Murktide Regent, so we absolutely will take the Murktide Regent. Mishra's Bauble. That was their draw for turn. Seeing what we're drawing. They get a draw. We hit a Line Breaker. Well, we will play that. They knew that was coming. Give it its own ability so it can attack as well. And now we have a real clock on the battlefield. I got nothing I can do, so I can just F6 through the turn, save us some clock. Another Mishra's Bauble. Seeing what we're drawing, seeing if it's worth still playing. Apparently it is. We drew a Wastecape Battle Mage. I'm actually going to hold on to that, just in case they can find a Murktide Regent, and they just scoop it up anyways. Okay. So we took game 2, and I think we're just going to go ahead and run it back again. Alright, this is a turn 1 Chalice followed up by Flushraker, so, I mean, we're going to keep it. And we've got double Wasteland to try to screw them off of stuff. So, Mishra's Bauble from the opponent. Okay, they've got a fetch land, so they're trying to see if they want their top card or not. And they just played the fetch land and passed. Okay. We hit a Barrowgoyf. Well, we are going to try to get Chalice on one down. See if they got the counter this time. They do not. Okay. Alright, they are fetching. They don't want whatever was on top anymore. Into a Thundering Falls. Ooh, did not want the Wasteland. Apparently they just... Oh, they have another one anyways. Okay. They didn't bother Wastelanding us here, so... We can try to play it slow and Wasteland their Thundering Falls. Or we can get down Glaring Fleshraker. I think we're going to get down the Glaring Fleshraker. Do they have a counter for this? No, they do not. Okay. 2 mana. Oh, a Braid. Okay. So 1-drops are unlocked again. Okay. I haven't seen a Braid in a sideboard in a while. It's almost always Meltdown. But they decided to go after the Chalice instead of going after the Fleshraker. So I'm guessing that means they might have like an Unholy Heat or a... whatchamacallit? Lightning Bolt? But no, they're going to Ponder first. Okay. Alright, did not shuffle off of the Ponder. Found another land. Fetching. Volcanic Island. Unholy Heat. Okay, that's fine. Are they going to Wasteland me? No. Okay. Into a Linebacker. Well, we'll start restricting their mana. We can Emergency Kozilek's Command for 1 if we absolutely need to. We can hit that other land out from under them too. Preordain. Okay. 2 bottom on that one. Okay. Well, we will go ahead and float some mana. See if they pass the phase. Another Wasteland. Okay. Well, we will cast this. Make dude scry. See if I can get a dude in, or if they've got another counter spell. No. Starting Town? I'm actually going to keep that because I need that colored mana. And they clearly don't have a removal spell. And we hit a Cavern of Souls. We will play Starting Town. Oh, shit. It's tapped. Oops. I forgot it was far enough in the game that I couldn't do that. Okay. Well, we're giving our opponent a turn they shouldn't have, but whatever. If they want to Wasteland it, so be it. If they don't Wasteland it to tap out to play a whatchamacallit, I'm good with that. Okay, Dragonite Channeler, that is big. Okay, well, I get... Oh, they have another Wasteland, okay. Well, we are going to go ahead and just play out this Barrowgoyf then, and then we will take them off of their last colored mana source later. Or we could just take them off of this colored mana now, let them hit us with Dragonite Channeler. No, I think we're going to Barrowgoyf here. Cavern on Lurgoyf. Get a real threat on the battlefield. Negate that. It doesn't die to any of their removal other than bounce spells. Blue mana. I'm guessing this is a cantrip? It's a Tamiyo. Okay. And they are blowing up our Cavern of Souls. That's actually fine, because we're going to take them off of their last mana source. And we hit a Lotus Petal, so I like that. And then we will move to combat, and we will gain some life back. And they're just taking it. Okay. Yes, we will use the ability. We will get back a Thought-Knot Seer. And then we will pass a turn and just gotta find some mana. We are absolutely winning this race right now. And opponent still has no mana. Oh, they're getting in with the Tamiyo. Eldrazi Temple. I like that. And then we are going to play Lotus Petal. We're going to go ahead and Thought-Knot Seer just to try to make sure that they don't have anything in their hand that can get them out of this. Ooh, Force of Will pitching Force of Will. Okay. Put a Tamiyo into the yard. We will attack, and we might just get that Thought-Knot Seer back. We will get another Thought-Knot Seer back. And then pass the turn. They're going to have to hold the Tamiyo back on D. And opponent scoops it up, taking down Izzet Cutter twice in a row. That is positive record locked. Let's go. All right, won the die roll up against Vaulted Form. I want to say they are a combo player of some sort, but we've got turn 1 Chalice and a bunch of other shit, so I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. All right, they mulligan to 6. We will start out with a Ancient Tomb, into a Lotus Petal, into a Chalice on 0, into a Chalice on 1. I mean, our follow-up is a Wastegate Battle Mage, but we have a ton of mana, so I don't hate our chances here. We will be able to play all of our high-end stuff here very shortly. Ooh. Okay. We're up against Oops all spells again. Luckily, we have Chalice on 1 and Chalice on 0. So a lot of their fast mana is locked out here. Just getting a Jack-o'-lantern into the graveyard. So the thing to know about that is I'm tempted to just run out this Wastegate Battle Mage, but I kind of want to see if I can bounce a creature first. Like, the thing to know about Jack-o'-lantern means they have the Memories Journey package. I'd like some Wastelands, I'd like some Thought-Knot Seers, something like that. They're just hitting lands, though. Wow, multiple Jack-o'-lanterns, okay. Alright, give me something good here. Eye of Ugin isn't really doing anything, so unfortunately we are just playing lands at this point. They can get down one of their 3-mana ones. If they have a Spirit Guide, they can pop it. Alright, finally running out of mana here. Give me something good, deck. Kozilek's Command. Okay, that is very good. Because if they go for it, I can Kozilek's Command and eat most of the important shit out of their graveyard. Alright, an opponent still isn't doing anything. I am still just going to hold on to this Kozilek's Command. Okay, there's a Glaring Fleshraker. I like that. Put this on Eldrazi. We will play this out. We could start going for a Kozilek's Command chain here, but I think we're going to wait. Because our Kozilek's Command is really our only protection at this point. Alright, an opponent's not doing anything. That's good. A Lotus Petal, we will play that out. It's going to get countered, but I want the body. Always yield to this. Like, maybe I'm playing scared by not going for the Kozilek's Command here, but it's literally our only source of protection at this point. So, and luckily, Force of Negation is turned off. Alright, an opponent scooped it up. Cool. Taking down game 1 against Oops. I like that a lot, because it guarantees us another game on the draw at the very least. Bring in Fairy Macabres, bring in Disruptor Flutes. I'm sorry, Obsessive Pursuit. This is another game you're going away for. They could have the Creature Juke. They could have the Charbelcher Juke. Again, Null Rod's kind of a double-edged sword here. We could bring in Null Rods, take out the Talismans, but Disruptor Flute should shut down Goblin Charbelcher specifically. If they have the Creature Juke, I very much want the Barrowgoyfs. I think we'll trim one, though. I think we got to be able to fit all this other stuff in. And we'll try that. Fairy Macabre and a whole shitload of mana. I really don't want to mulligan a hand that has a hate piece in it. Fuck it, we'll keep it. We'll draw our threats. Boggart Bog tapped. Okay. Show me a Chalice. Eldrazi Linebreaker. Well, that's something to do on turn 1 at least. To get a threat onto the battlefield. Get in for 4. And hopefully they can't just ritual out a Charbelcher and do their thing. Because we got the graveyard pseudo covered at the moment. Bolting that in. Elvish Spirit Guide. Balustrade Spy. Okay. So they're going for the graveyard combo. Do they have any more Spirit Guides is the question. Let's pop this out real quick. They have 1 Narcomoeba. Alright, so they've got... Wait. Did they take out their Jack-o'-lanterns? I do see a Memories Journey. They could have a green Spirit Guide. There's 1 Spirit Guide there. 2, 3, 4. So all the green Spirit Guides are gone. And there's no Jack-o'-lanterns in the graveyard. I thought I saw a Bridge from Below in here somewhere. Undercity Informer, Agade's Awakening, Unmask. They have a single Dread Return. A single Thassa's Oracle. So we're going to do this with this on the stack. Grab the... Okay, there is a Jack-o'-lantern in the graveyard, but they have no green mana. And all of their... Yeah, all their Spirit Guides are gone. So we'll take Thassa's Oracle. And where's that Dread Return at? There was a Dread Return in here, right? Yeah, it's up toward the top. Okay. We will just take those. Alright. Thassa's Oracle is gone. I didn't see any Bridge from Belows, though. And all of their colored mana is gone. Okay, they can... Okay, there is a Bridge from Below. Okay. I apparently missed that somewhere. How many Cabal Therapies are in there? I'd assume there's a full 4, but I only see 2. They're targeting themselves? Oh, to get another Poxwalkers in the graveyard. Okay. But they're going to die on... Well, I guess they can Memory's Journey in their upkeep? Okay. Somehow I missed the Dread Return. I didn't even see what they named with the first one, but all they can take is a Talisman, so I don't actually care about that at all. If I find a Chalice, I can Chalice on 2, and then they can't Memory's Journey. Disruptor Flute, that actually does it as well. And we'll just name Memory's Journey. They can't cast it. And got the GGs from the opponent. Said nice on the top deck. I'm not going to lie, I faulted for him. If you see this, that was a lucky top deck. And that's 4-0. We're playing for the trophy. Let's go. One round. Won the die roll up against Yawn. Alright. This is a turn 1 Fleshraker or a turn 1 Linebacker. Or we could finally do the Obsessive Pursuit thing. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. I think we're going to try to get down to turn 1 Linebreaker, followed up with the Fleshraker. Because if they counter the Linebreaker, I can still play the Fleshraker after. Whereas if I do it the other way, I don't have the mana to be able to actually cast the Linebreaker. We will play an Ancient Tomb, play a Lotus Petal, and we will slam the Linebreaker. Hopefully we can finally see the Obsessive Pursuit thing. But we will see. Alright, get in with the Linebreaker. It resolved. Hit our opponent for 4 on turn 1. Opponent is on a Stompy deck as well. Ooh, are we going to see the same thing? Ooh, Lion's Eye Diamond. So they could be on some kind of Storm deck. Quantum Riddler. Okay. Ooh, okay, so it's some sort of Storm deck. So we're going to get wheeled here. Yep. Okay. I mean, I like the hand that we got. We're just going to have to see if they can kill us from here. Rite of Flame, okay. Artist Talent. Mox Opal. Alright, so there's a good chance that they can win from here. Pyrite Spellbomb. They're starting to get restricted on mana. Chromox, not so much. They didn't put anything under it. Another Rite of Flame. Cracking the Spellbomb to draw a card. Another Lion's Eye Diamond. Another Lion's Eye Diamond. Another Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay. Chromox. Another Mox Opal. Another Quantum Riddler. And a Grape Shot for lethal. Okay. That is not at all what I expected, but okay. Well, we shouldn't expect much counter magic out of our opponent, but we're going to go ahead and bring the Null Rods in. We will bring Warping Whales in. I am so sorry, Obsessive Pursuit. I know I have taken you out every single match, but none of these matches have been the grindy style that you are meant for. And let's see if we can get enough lock pieces on turn 1 to be able to slow our opponent down. Alright, show me some lock pieces, deck. Oh, this would be really good if I knew, or if I didn't know what our opponent is on, but I got a mulligan. I gotta find a lock piece. Okay, Chalice on 0 I like. We can keep this. We don't. We probably should keep the colored mana. I think we're going to save our life total here, bin the Ancient Tomb, and we will start out with Eldrazi Temple. We'll start out with the Temple, play the Lotus Petal before the Chalice gets down, play the Fleshraker, and then play out the Chalice on 0. And then we can follow this up with a Wastegate Battle Mage. This will shut down a lot of their fast mana. Into an Urza's Saga, which we can actually blow up. And a Haywire Might, okay. Or we can just kill the Urza's Saga. So what is this? Exile target artifact or enchantment. I can kill the Haywire Might first, and then we can blow up the Urza's Saga? So I think that's what we're going to do. Put this on Eldrazi. And then we will cast this with Kicker. Blow up the Haywire Might. Get a spawn. And then get in. And then next turn, we can go ahead and blow up the Urza Saga. If they get a single construct out of it, it's just going to be a 1/1, and I don't really care about that. So like, if they just follow this up with an Ancient Tomb, I'm actually kind of okay with it. Casting a Gamble, so they're trying to get an Echo of Aeons in the bin. They binned a Mox Opal, so the Echo's in their hand, so I need to hit the Urza Saga. I was going to say, there's a world where I can go after the Volcanic Island, because the Urza Saga is going to go away anyways. But I cannot let them get a Lion's Eye Diamond into play here. So I have to kill this. Move to combat. And now I just need something like a Kozilek's command. Ancient Tomb. Warping in a Quantum Riddler to draw a card. Alright, just letting that warp back out again. They're still at least 2 turns away from being able to play it as a blocker. We hit an Ancient Tomb. Unfortunately, we're kind of hitting our fizzle rate here. We need like 1 good card to pop off. They are down to 5, so good-sized Kozilek's command will kill them. Well, they found a Saga, so that can start cranking out tokens. Boomerang Basics. Ooh, are they going to be able to go off from here? If they wheel, they could find us a Kozilek's command for us to be able to go off over the top. I guess their last card's a Lion's Eye Diamond. No, they're just casting the Quantum Riddler. Okay. Draw 2 off of that. Lotus Petal. And pass the turn. Okay, well, they're at 3. And we hit a Wasteland. Well, we will replay the Chalice on 0. Get them down to 2. And if we just swing out, they're dead. And they scoop it up. Okay, manage to squeak in game 2. Now we have to do this on the draw when they know we don't have counter magic. We could bring in the Obligators to try to take their Quantum Riddlers. I don't necessarily think that's correct. Let's bring in another Battle Mage, take out a Talisman. And let's just hope we don't get turned 1. Like, the problem with these Echo Wheel decks is they can also mulligan all the way down to 2. Warping Whale Talisman. Yeah, we gotta ship this one. I think we're gonna give this a shot. Let's put 1 Warping Whale to the bottom. I'd really like a Chalice, but our opponent kept on 7, so there's a very good chance we're probably just dead on turn 1. Yeah, especially with a Diamond. Yeah, we're probably just turn 1 here. Warping in a Riddler, but not pop. Okay, there's a Lion's Eye Diamond. I was gonna say, they're warping it, but not popping it. Okay, well, we got a Chalice on 0, so if they somehow fizzle from here. Oh, there's the Artist Talent. Oh! Okay, we're not dead. Holy shit! Well, we want to Eldrazi Temple, play out a Lotus Petal, play a Fleshraker, play out a Petal. What they're telling me is there's a shot. And then play out a Chalice on 0, ping them again, and then next turn I can drop an Eldrazi Linebreaker. We can just hope that Linebreaker into Linebreaker does it. Ancient Tomb, so they can make some blockers, which looks like that's their plan. If I can get another source of colored mana, I can double Linebreaker. Or, well, we're going to play Urborg. We are going to go ahead and drop a Linebreaker. Then we are going to attack with said Linebreaker. And attack with the Linebreaker. There's no point in them really doing much of anything here. And then we are going to go ahead and drop a Null Rod. And shut down all of their artifacts. And then we just need to find colored mana to play this Linebreaker and we should be able to win. Yep, make a dude, that's fine. They're down to 5. I actually might have enough damage anyways, just attacking with this Linebreaker. Just floating mana, okay. They can find an artifact that they can't activate. Found a Lion's Eye Diamond. They need a bounce spell to be able to bounce. I mean, we did see Boomerang Basics, so they could bounce this Null Rod and try to go off. That is Boomerang Basics. Okay. See if they can go off from here. But their zeros are still shut off at the moment. Okay, their zeros are back on. Let's see if they can get there from here. Okay. If they wheel us, they could wheel us into a Kozilek's command, which won't kill them. Down to 3, into another Quantum Riddler, to draw a card. Pyrite Spellbomb, okay. They are currently out of mana, unless they crack Lion's Eye Diamond, which they do. To cast an Echo of Aeons. Okay. We're wheeling. Well, I got nothing, and hopefully neither do they. Like, wheels are random, so there is a world where they don't do anything. They're bouncing their Mox Opal specifically to be able to replay it. Okay. It's very hard to keep up on what is actually going on over there. Discarded a Haywire Mite. Okay. Another Mox Opal. Praza. Okay. They are still restricted on mana. They're gambling. Bind and Echo. Lion's Eye Diamond to the yard. Okay. A Boomerang Basics to pick up the Mox Opal. Bind a Defense Grid. Okay. Lotus Petal. Another Lotus Petal. Okay, so they can wheel again, but again, they're going to have no mana. at the end of this wheel, I don't think. Okay, there's a Lion's Eye Diamond, so they're gonna have mana left over. Another Boomerang Basics to pick up the Mox Opal. Do they have the Grape Shot in hand and they just don't want to wheel? Is that what this is? Rite of Flame. Rite of Flame. And there's the Grape Shot. Holy shit. Good game. Taken down in the trophy round. That was super close. This is a super cool take on Storm, but nice little 4-1 with Black Eldrazi, so I'll take it. I'll address my thoughts on the wrap-up. That was a ton of fun. Unfortunately, we did not get to see Obsessive Pursuit do its thing during this league. It's really meant for grindier matchups where you need the card advantage and the game is going to go long. And as you saw during that league, that was definitely not the type of decks that we were playing against. So unfortunately, we did not get to see it go off and do its thing. I did do it a few times during testing, and it is absolutely crazy if you can get Obsessive Pursuit and Glaring Flesh Raker on the battlefield at the same time, being able to sacrifice those spawns for mana to keep casting more spells, and then use all those sacrifice bodies to be able to pump a creature to attack with and get lethal out of nowhere sometimes. So overall, you didn't get to see it do its thing, but when you are in those super long grindy matchups, the card advantage that it accrues through those clues and the added pump to be able to close the game out are actually really sweet. It is a little awkward in the deck because you have less colored mana sources to be able to cast Obsessive Pursuit than you do Barrowgoyf. Cavern of Souls can cast Barrowgoyf, whereas Obsessive Pursuit can't. So it's a little bit harder to cast Obsessive Pursuit than it is Barrowgoyf as far as trying to splash black, but it still was pretty easy to cast overall. And while you didn't get to see it actually do anything this league, I think it's some interesting tech, and it could work really well if you expect a very grindy, control-heavy meta wherever you're playing. Outside of that, the deck worked well. It felt like a standard Eldrazi deck. There's not a lot to say. I will say I kind of miss some of the big Haymaker Eldrazi that the full-on Eldrazi aggro decks have, like Devourer of Destiny, Reality Smasher, stuff like that. So we were trying to rely a lot more on Glaring Fleshraker combo kills or being able to overrun our opponent with an Eldrazi Linebreaker. But the deck functioned really, really well overall. You can see through this league why Eldrazi is a real contender in the meta currently. It is probably one of my favorite stompy variants to be able to play in the current meta as far as competitively viable decks, though admittedly Mystic Forge is going to just be better overall. But if you want to smash down with the spaghetti monsters, I highly recommend giving this version a try just to have a little bit of variance in terms of what you're playing with and throwing your opponent off guard. No one's expecting a Barrowgoyf out of an Eldrazi deck, and the life gain also is absolutely huge to help you catch up against those hyper fast aggro decks like Izzet Cutter and the Ocelot Pride energy decks that are all running around right now. So despite the fact that we did not get to see Obsessive Pursuit do its thing, I'm going to give this deck a thumbs up. It was a ton of fun to play. I'm going to keep trying it, maybe make a couple of adjustments to it in the future. Really try to see if I can get some footage showing off exactly what Obsessive Pursuit can do. So look for that sometime in the future, possibly over on the Patreon as some bonus content. But anyways, that was Black Eldrazi for Legacy. I hope you all had as much fun watching as I did playing. I'll catch you all in the next one. And as always, stay salty. Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. There are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel. covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.